Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to see database in Android, which is SQLite. So to perform the database in Android, we designed this GUI. Basically we are going to insert two values from the activity, which is first one is a name and second one is a password. So you can take it here edit text, and here as edit text, username we suggested with the text view and password we suggested with the password text view. So basically we are going to insert name and password into the database, two fields. So for that we use the add user button to insert data into database and view data button to get data from the database which we inserted earlier. So these two buttons we used for various purposes. Next we perform update as well. So this update button is used to update the data. So what we are going to update? We are going to update the name. So here we write the current name and here we write the new name. Once we click on the update, current name is going to change by the new name. So this is the update. So to perform delete operation, we use here one edit text and we need to insert the name to delete the record, and once we click on the delete button we get delete the record from the database. So this is simple GUI we designed to perform the SQLite database operation in an Android. So you can design this GUI and go for the coding. So for coding, first of all we need to implement database connectivity operation using mydbadapter.java class. So here it is, we are going to use mydbadapter.java. For that you just insert from here, click on the Java new and the Java class, and using the Java class you insert mydbadapter.java, and we added one another class which is called as a message to print the messages in entire application. So these two Java classes we added over here, and in activity we added only one activity main.xml. Okay, so already we completed with our design part. So go to the coding. So first of all go to the main activity.java. So here in main activity.java we basically declare our components, our controls, and bind the controls with the name. So here we used 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 edit text. We declare all the edit text over here. So using this, so name, pass, update, update new and delete, these are the edit text controls, and we created the objects, and here we initialize all the edit text control as per their IDs. So name is belong to the edit name, you can see in a design part. So if you click on the edit text name you will get the ID from here. So this ID we used over here to initialize the edit text. So these are the 5 edit text we use and we initialize over here. Okay, then we declare the helper object for the mydataAdapter class. So here is our mydbAdapter class, and using this helper object we can access the content from the mydbAdapter class. Next, what we basically do, we declare functions for my main activity.java. So what are those functions? Add user, view data, update, delete. So these are the functions we use to perform various operations in the database. So basically what add user does, add user perform insertion operation in the database, whereas view data is used to display the data from the database. Update is used to update the values into the database, and delete to delete the record from the database. So let's see first of all this code, and then we will go for the mydbAdapter. So in mydbAdapter.java we use function definitions as we declared in main activity.java. Here you can see you used insert data function. You call over there insert data function. So this insert data function, the definition of this function we can get from it MyDB adapter, and using helper object we can access the MyDB adapter. So whatever function we used in the main activity.java, the definition of that function we return in MyDB adapter.java class. So let's see the first of all MyDB adapter.java. So first of all we start with the creation of database. So here this code is responsible to create the database. So let's understand step by step. First of all we declare the name of database using database name, and we mention the database name is equal to my database. Second, we declare the table name, which is my table. Third, we declare database version is equal to 1. Fourth, now we declare the variable names. So first we declare UID, second we declare name, and third we declare password. So name and password we take it from here, name and password, and this UID we use as a primary key and we kept it in auto increment mode. So these are the three values we are going to insert into the table, which is my table. So these are the three values. Then we declare the create table, and in create table we fire the query to create the table. So to create table, let's see query create table, then table name, it comes from the table name variable, and then we provide the variable names as first UID, and UID is an integer, data type of UID is integer, we declare as a primary key and we keep UID as a auto increment. So this is the declaration of UID. Same name, data type of name is varchar, and password, the data type is name is varchar. So these are the declaration of create table query. So now next we are going to declare one another variable, which is drop table. So this particular query we are going to use in on update method of database. So this is the drop table if exists, and then the table name. So these are the basic declaration of the database. So now we are going to understand when we are going to implement the database connectivity in Android. We are going to use the SQLite OpenLite helper class to implement the database connection. And SQLite Open Helper class comes with two methods. The first one is onCreate and second one is a onUpgrade. In onCreate method we are going to create the database, and in onUpgrade we are going to update the database. So already we declare all the parameters of the database. Now simply here we are going to create the database and update the database. In onCreate method we use execSQL method to create the database. So execSQL and create table. So create table, it comes from here and it creates the table in database. If it is any error, we catch it through the exception here. And in onUpgrade we are going to update the database, and for onUpgrade first of all we need to drop the current table and create the new database. So using this code we achieve the update. So this is the SQL my database adapter.java class basically. So we already discussed the concepts of creation of the database and onCreate method and onUpgrade method. So here now we are going to understand the definitions, the function definitions which we use in main activity.java. So let's understand first of all insert data. Insert data this is used to insert the data into database. So for that we created the SQLite object, and we first of all use the method get writable database, because using get writable database you can able to insert the value into the database, and get writable database method returns you, otherwise enable you to write the content into the database. So this is the get writable method. So using a DBB object we achieve the get writable database method. And then the content values, obviously content values is an object is used to hold the values of the field. So name and password is the content values for this application. So content values dot put my database helper dot name, name is we can take it from here, and password we take it from this edit text field. And then we just perform the query, which is dbb.insert. So this method particularly insert the data into database. So for that we use the MyDB helper.table name. So in table name we insert the value and the content values. So if it is successful it returns 1, and if it is not successful it returns 0. So according to this ID we check the insertion into the main activity.java class. So here see check add user one. Once we click on the button add user button, first of all we click on the add user button, it call this add user function, and this add user function call insert data function. So this is the linkage. So basically see the flow, you entered the name over here, you entered the password over here, and you click on the add user button. So add user button is responsible to call this add user function, and in this add user functions we used the insert data method. And so in this insert data method, to execute this insert data method we go to the mydbadapter.java class, and here the definition of insert data function. So this is the linkage. So basically let's see how add user perform. So to perform add user perform, we first of all take the get text from the name is ID for edit text, this edit text, and pass is ID object for this edit text. So first of all we check is empty, then we print the message. So basically we forgot to discuss what is this message, because we already seen if you want to print the messages then we use the custom toast alerts. So what is this message? See, already we created one class which is called as a message. So first of all go to the message.java, and here what we write code in message class. See here we create a context over here, and in toast.makeText context message and toast.length in this class. So using this now we are able to use custom toast alert over here. So message.message get application context and whatever message we want to print. So here we printed the message, enter both name and password, because first of all we check if the empty, then we just printed this message. If not empty, then definitely name and password field is not black, and we call the function which is called as an insert data. We pass the T1 and T2 as we get it from over here. And if it is successful, as you know already we discussed insert data method call, and we go to MyDB adapter, this code will execute and it returns, as I told you, if it is successful then it returns 1, that is why ID is equal to 1, and if it is successful then this code will execute. So ID is less than or equal to 0 means there are some errors occurred while insertion, so we print the message insertion is unsuccessful. But ID is greater than 0, then definitely your insert data operation is successful, and we display the message insertion successful. So likewise we perform this add user function. Then view data is very simple. We just perform one line code for the view data. So here data string data is equal to helper dot get data method is there to return to get the data from the database. So get data method access all the data from the database, and it contain into this data, and we are going to print this data using the message class. So message class we use message.message context.data, so we can get printed all the data from the database. So next, update. Obviously you know the meaning of update. We are going to update the old value with the new value. So for that we use these two edit text. So this is the current value and this is the new value. So this u1 is old value and u2 is new value. So this is the code for checking both are the empty or not. If it is not empty, then we call the update data name method. So for update data name method definition, go to MyDBAdapter.java. You will get the update name here. So update name, actually see, obviously first of all we get the get writable database and then the content values dot put values and then name. We are going to change the name. So to change the name, we fire the query like this: db.update MyDBAdapter table name content values and MyDBHelper.name. So here using this we are going to change the name of the value of the name field. So this is the way code for to update the value into the database. Also in previously we discussed about the get data. So get data function we forgot to discuss. So get data, definition of get data is here. So get data, get writable database columns, we retrieve the columns. What are those columns? First UID, name and password from the table, and then we fire the query which is table name and extract all the columns in this query, and then we just printed all the values of the columns using cursor, and cursor has the multiple methods, which is move to the next, move to the last, move to the first, move to the previous, and using this move to the next means from first value till the last value we get the data. So for this CID we use to get the UID, name is used to get the name, and password is used to get the password. And obviously we are going to append the data because we are getting the multiple records, so that is why buffer.append CID, name and password. So this line is responsible to print the data in one after another till the end of the record. So this is the get data function. Same as this is the delete function. So now you know this delete is responsible for this function call. So definition of delete, check the definition of delete, get writable database, and use the db.delete method. We can delete the data where name is equal to this, and then update. This is the update, get writable content values, and using db.update query we are going to update the data. So these are the functions, and these are the definition of the function. So once again I remind you, this is your code, this is your design. So for this design we will write the code over here, and this is the MyDBAdapter class.java to declare the definitions of all function and creation of the database using SQLite Open Helper class. So these are the code, and one class we also use to print the messages in entire application. So this is the message class. So see here. So this is the this is the all description of this application, but as you seen, we are not perform any event listener over here because we are going to use one another concept of Android Studio over here. So how the code will execute when we click the add user. previously we know we definitely need to write the button click event listener for to execute the code. So how this perform this add user call these functions? So for that I am going to show you another concept of Android Studio. For this button, select this button and its attributes go to the on click attribute. So see here, this is your on click attribute, and in on click attribute we write the name of the function, which is add user. So actually using this you can achieve the execution of the button click without writing the event listeners and action listeners. So on click, this is the method, on click method is there. On click method performs this function call. So using this we can achieve the call for all buttons. So add user, perform add user function, view data button performs view data function call, update perform update function, and delete perform delete. So using this we can call the functions from the code, these functions. Okay, so this is the all description of the application. Now simply we run the application and check the output. Now see, the application is successfully deployed into the emulator. So check the output. First of all, enter username. So here I am going to enter the username as a and password as I required. So click on the add user. You will get the message insertion is successful. So to check the data from the database, click on the view button. So view data buttons gives you all the data from your database. So see, all this data is already inserted into the database. So now next we are going to check the delete. So here you need to insert the name of username to delete the record. So check first of all the user. See, deleted. So using this you are able to delete the data from the database. Now check XYZ is deleted from the data. Okay, so like this way you can delete the data from the database. So SC basically have some issues. So this is the delete. Now check the update. We're going to insert new record like XYZ and password 3 and data. So this is successful. New data XYZ. Now update operation will perform on the XYZ. So current is XYZ. We are going to change with PQR and click on update button. Updated, and now check the values. See, XYZ is updated with the PQR. So by this way you can easily implement the SQLite database. Hope you understand. Thank you for watching.